So, guys, we're going to talk about this Hasan Piker situation because it's getting worse for him. And oh boy, some people just need to learn to shut their mouth and just issue an apology sometimes, don't they? All right. So, as some of you may know, yesterday there was a video that went up that's kind of gone well. Yeah, funny. You start shitting on alternative media on the left, and all of a sudden YouTube doesn't have a problem suppressing you anymore. Dan Kershaw fires back after left-wing commentator Hasan Piker's vulgar attack. So, I'm furious. An employee of one of the largest news network sites in the country, the Young Turks, has a brave something or other terror something the eye hole out of Dan Kershaw, and the bastard's name is Hasan Piker. He needs to be fired. Help me make this go viral. Look, I'm generally against getting him fired because, well, then we're no better than the left. I don't think anybody should be fired, regardless of how repulsive I find their comments. But, yeah. Didn't he go to war? He literally lost his eye because some jeered brave something soldier, something his eye hole with their something, Piker added. Isn't that how he lost his something eye? Because he's got something eye hole, something by a brave soldier. So we do actually have the original video. And here it is here. I'm just going to play it for you guys. I'm not going to censor it. I'm not going to censor it.
Soft power is the exact same as hard power. Soft power, embassies, diplomacy, exact same thing as military bases. I can't do this. I can't do this. Guy has the understanding of foreign policy of like a 12-year-old. What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with this dude? Didn't he go to war and like literally lose his eye because some mujahideen, a brave fucking soldier, fucked his eye hole with their dick? Isn't that how he lost his fucking dumbass eye? Because he got his fucking eye hole fucked?
Okay, just on that, that's completely factually inaccurate. Kershaw lost his eye from an IED. It was an explosive that went off. Had nothing to do with someone sticking their dick in his eye. And to be honest, Hasan Piker, if you want to talk about your dark sexual fantasies with Kershaw, maybe you should leave that to a therapist.
By a brave soldier? Didn't he learn that there's a difference between like military bases and diplomacy?
So that's it there. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It really is. Look, at the end of the day,
Soft power.
Like I said, I don't think anybody deserves to be fired. Was that the end of it? Yeah. Okay, so there's a lot of space here. I don't think anybody deserves to be fired, but it is pretty bad. And hey, this is the network that wants to deplatform Alex Jones. So, maybe copying this as yourself is, justice, I suppose. I don't know. But where does it end, though? So, obviously, at the end of the day, look, Kershaw's coming out firing. I'm furious. Seems to be confused. Improvised explosive device with some weird terrorist fantasy. Sorry for tricking you, Hasan. You're not Pete Dawson. Stop trying so hard. This piece of scum, Hasan Piker, also said that America deserved 9/11, which he did as well. Watching him say 3K Americans deserve to die. America deserved 9/11. Dude, F it, I'm saying it. Pan works for the Young Turks. YouTube sponsored them and pays for this content. Makes you wonder if they're still going to have their ads though, doesn't it? You literally don't need two eyes to see how bad draw your district is. Look, at the end of the day, I said yes yesterday. The whole comment was shit. It really was. Even if you agree with Hasan Piker's view on this whole policy, which is what he's going for, right? He's saying that America has gone through and has bombed these third world countries, and that's caused this replication of 9/11 and stuff like that. Even if you say that, even if you believe that, that doesn't mean the 3,000 innocent people in the building deserve to die. Okay, if you believe that America is responsible for bringing this on themselves because of their domestic policies, then you have a problem with the Pentagon. You have a problem with the military-industrial complex. And the irony is that this is a guy who's also against Trump, who's also against the military-industrial complex. Yeah, I know Trump has done some things to make good with the MIC and everything like that. I get it. We'll see how he goes the second term. But yeah, for the most part, he's against the deep state. He's against Hillary Clinton. He's been locking up pedophiles or pedophilia, and he has been disarming the deep state, to which a lot of the mainstream media has been ignoring. So, yeah, Trump derangement syndrome, I've got no idea. But, like I say, even if you don't like the deep state, those 3,000 people that were in the tower, they had nothing to do with it. They were just people going about their daily lives. Now, of course, he's come through, and Jake has brought him onto the Young Turks to do some damage control. Because, holy shit, this is spiraling out of control for both of them.
Joining me now is Hasan Piker.
We're going to go through, we're going to watch this. It is 15 minutes, guys. We're going to watch it, and we're going to critique it as we go. So, enjoy.
Piker, he is part of the TYT network. He does Breakdown and now a new show, Agitprop. Hasan, welcome. And listen, you're on because you said some things that a lot of people, including myself, find very offensive. You did not say it on the Young Turks network. You said it on your own Twitch channel.
That's Jank literally throwing his nephew under the bus. Yeah, you didn't say it on our program. Oh, so we don't want the pitchforks coming for us, bro. You said on your own Twitch account. Makes you wonder if he still has a Twitch account. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
So we're going to take him one at a time and have a conversation about it. In the past, when conservatives have said offensive things, I have said that they should keep their job and we should have a conversation about it. I said it about Megyn Kelly, Don Imus, and Rush.
You said they should keep their job. Really? Alex Jones. You said Alex Jones should keep his platform. Is that what you're claiming, Jake? Do I need to bring up the videos where you've literally advocated for Alex to be thrown off YouTube?
Limbaugh. And so here we are. I'm living up to what I said about conservatives and progressives. We're having a conversation. So you said America deserved 9/11. Did you mean that?
No, obviously not, especially considering the fact that while that is a very viral quote that is going around currently, if those people were at least even remotely charitable or cared about the actual truth of what I was talking about, they would understand that within context, I was simply referencing the fact that all of the foreign policy decisions and our arming of insurgent groups in the region and our efforts in destabilizing the Middle East have a direct consequence, a boomerang effect rather, if you will, in causing 9/11. Of course, every part of what I advocate for is against violence. I abhor violence. I think it's awful. And as a matter of fact, I was very frustrated with the fact that.
Hang on. Hasn't he supported Antifa? Hang on, let me check this. We're going to keep going. I'm going to check this while.
Dan Crenshaw, a person who 4 times voted nay on bills that would stop arming Saudi Arabia. He voted no 4 times on those bills. It would turn around and talk about the necessity for endless violence, and that this simply was happening because these people. This simply was happening because these people just hated us. They hated us because they hate us. I'm paraphrasing, but I thought that was awful. I thought that was horrific, and in that moment, I thought, at the very least, I was saying that you can draw a direct line, basically, that it was a consequence of all of the things that we have done in the region. This is not a controversial thing to say, which is precisely why I followed up by saying, why are you guys getting upset at me? There's a live chat, there's a back and forth conversation on Twitch, for those of you who are unfamiliar. Said, why are you getting upset at me? Nothing I'm saying is controversial, implying that I didn't even understand immediately why what I was saying was so outside of the bounds of reason, considering that Hillary Clinton has had a similar and correct opinion on this, talking about how we did fund Al-Qaeda and Noam Chomsky and numerous other academics on both sides of the political spectrum.
So when you're talking about one of the causes of 9/11 being American foreign policy, it's not just Chomsky. Donald Trump has said.
Donald Trump has said that as well.
I understand that. I understand that. But you understand now, and not just now, but you understood fairly soon after you said it, that saying Americans deserve 9/11 is a completely different statement and one that's wrong.
No, I didn't say Americans deserve 9/11. I said America deserves 9/11.
But that's
big difference there. Big difference, guys. Oh, that's all right. We can go home now. There's a difference.
In that moment, well, maybe you could chalk it up to English being my second language or whatever you want to.
Oh, seriously, dude, come on, really? Does anybody that watched this video think Hasan Piker has a problem speaking English with this interview that he's already done? This whole, English is my second language, don't know. It's a load of crap. It really is a load of crap.
Chalk it up to. Obviously, if I followed that statement up immediately with, well, we're still continuing to fund the nation state responsible for this, and we act like they are our greatest allies, when that kind of arms sale
I understand the overall policy point you're making, Hasan, but saying it that way is clearly wrong. Because at least people have the impression that you.
I should have used more precise and better use of the language there. It's messed up that I would even give the opportunity to the right to try to morally grandstand on an issue.
This is not the first time that you've deliberately effed up, okay, bro? Like, seriously, there was your comments about women. Okay? You are a vile piece of shit. Like, you really are. Your views on things are shit. They really are.
Issue like this, when they are 100% responsible for all of the bloodshed that has been caused. Even some other outlets in the mainstream media are also culpable in this circumstance. Look, 3,000 people died, and that's terrible. That is a horrific event. I've covered this issue numerous times.
Hang on, let me go
also culpable in this circumstance. Look, responsible for all of the bloodshed that has been caused. Grandstand on an issue like this, when they are 100% responsible for all of the bloodshed that has been caused. Even some other outlets in the.
Hang on, how is the right 100% responsible for the bloodshed that's been caused?
They are 100 give the opportunity to the right to.
I don't get that. What? Obama didn't blow up the Middle East? Is that what he's claiming now? Because my understanding was Obama dropped more bombs than anybody. But hey, I suppose we're going to ignore that point, aren't we?
Try to morally grandstand on an issue like this, when they are 100% responsible for all of the bloodshed that has been caused. Even some other outlets in the mainstream media are also culpable in this circumstance. Look, 3,000 people died, and that's terrible. That is a horrific event. I've covered this issue numerous times. I've covered the way that media has politicized it and the way that politicians have politicized this issue numerous times. There's an article I wrote 2 years ago on 9/11 on Huffington Post that you guys can go check out if you want to understand exactly what I mean. These are the same people that justified an illegal war in Iraq. These are the same people that normalized this same kind of violence. And that's precisely my point, is that especially a congressperson who suffered, like who sacrificed personally, and
Oh, by the way, I'm just going to post this here because I just found this. Laura Loomer has noticed that Hasan Piker has an Antifa comic book. So the Young Turks is currently on Twitch, and look what he has on his shelf. The Antifa comic book. Antifa has been disingenuous as a domestic terrorist organization by the US Department of State. Now this is a guy that literally has claimed that he is advocating for peace, that he rejects violence. Mind you, literally has Antifa comic book on his bookshelf. But I suppose some kind of violence is alright after all, is it?
Is now using that sacrifice to in a very civil fashion, albeit, justify endless warfare is abhorrent to me. I know that I was inappropriate. I understand that, which is precisely why I took action immediately. As soon as I realized, like, oh, this is going to be misconstrued. I don't want this to be weaponized. I don't want this to be. I don't want this to offend people. I immediately stopped the stream. I deleted the VOD, the video on demand, and I continued after that.
No, the reason why you went through and deleted the VOD is because you realized that people were going to clip it. That is why you most likely deleted the VOD. Is because you knew people were going to clip it and this was going to look bad. Because you stuck your foot in it. You said something without thinking.
So you deleted it before any right-winger wrote an article about it or not?
No, of course. Because look, I talk about Nazis, crypto-fascists, and the alt-right quite frequently. I am vocally in defense of a lot of the things that they oppose. Okay, anti-fascism being the primary thing, which is precisely why I have a lot of people who are waiting, sniping, like looking to snipe comments out of context in exactly the same fashion that they did last night, and take it up the chain of command as quickly as possible and escalate it into a situation where I have thousands of people very publicly talking about how they want to brutally torture me and execute me.
All right, yeah.
Which is weird, but whatever.
I got you. So look, to me,
it's kind of like your comments on Bradshaw, but you know, Croshaw, yeah.
That's monumentally important that you misspoke and that you did not mean that. If you meant it, it would be a totally different conversation. Well, you pulled a video immediately showing, in my opinion, that you didn't mean it. Okay, but
by the way,
now,
that was like
now there's a whole series of lies saying that you support Al Qaeda and terrorism. When look, this is really important because the point you're making is Dan Crenshaw is voting yes to Saudi Arabia and funding them. And Saudi Arabia has funded a lot of that terrorism. I'm going to get to the comments you made about Crenshaw, which are also offensive and abhorrent.
Yeah.
But on that front, I'm not wrong in saying that that's the point they're making is the exact opposite of what you were actually saying.
Yeah. The question I would ask is this: if I am supposedly a fan of all of the terrorism that is ongoing around the world, or a fan of Al Qaeda, as some other YouTubers who have a gigantic platform have put it, then why would I be upset at the government's decision to continue funding these groups? Or why would I have been upset originally at the government's decision to fund these groups? And then why would I be upset at the fact that we are still continuing to fund and supply arms to the Saudi Arabian kingdom, which then happen to find themselves in the hands of Al Qaeda? This is all factually correct information. This is all well documented. Like the arms,
because the arms that Saudi Arabia is buying at the moment isn't going to Al Qaeda. It is going to fight Yemen. He just look, didn't he earlier at the start of this video go on? Oh, sorry, the other video say about Bradshaw not understanding foreign policies. Saudi Arabia is currently bombing Yemen.
that we have sold to Saudi Arabia at this point, and they are the #1 country that buys the most arms from us, as Donald Trump put it, and as Reagan put it back in '86. when there was additional criticism against selling arms to Saudi Arabia. Why would I criticize that if I'm in support of Al Qaeda?
They're also the #1 purveyor of terrorism, and that's why we fight against the Saudi government. Progressives do. All right.
Oh, come off it. Leave it alone, Jank. Seriously, dude? God, he's so full of shit, this guy.
So now let's turn to the comments you made about Dan Crenshaw.
Yeah.
By the way, for anybody that hasn't realized, Saudi Arabia is a Muslim country, yes, but so's Yemen. It is different types of the religion. Muslims have about 4 different sects. And the most of the problem happening in the Middle East at the moment is those 4 sects fighting. And that's why Hasan Piker, most likely, in my opinion, has a problem with selling arms to Saudi Arabia. Because he's the one supporting the religion of Islam in Yemen. He supports that sect. So here it is here. So in Saudi Arabia, in Yemen, 55% is Sunni and 45% is Sharia. Donations as follows: 55% are Sharaf and the others Sunni Islam. 43% are Zodi or the Order of Sharia Islam. And 2% are the Jaffa of the Westerns. Now, if we look at Islam in Saudi Arabia, Islam in Saudi Arabia. Here we go here. So Saudi Arabia calls blah, 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 blah. So what's the makeup of the religion? So Shuraf's Wahhabis are the majority in Saudi Arabia. So what you have is a majority Wahhabi in Saudi Arabia blowing up the majority which are Sharif. That's the situation in Yemen for people for the 101. That's the breakdown for you. That's what's going on over there.
Yes.
So you know, I guess in an attempt at satire, made very crass comments about the eye that he lost in Afghanistan. So first of all, at least everyone is assuming it's satire, including Dan Crenshaw. I'll quote him in a second. Was it satire?
Yeah.
Of course he's going to say yes. He's getting dragged over the coals. He's literally been dragged into the Young Turks to do damage control. And you can tell he doesn't want to be there. You can tell he's pissed off with having to do this stupid thing because he has to go through and respond to some of the stupid comments that he made. And obviously Jank is like, dude, you are coming in to do this because otherwise you are getting fired.
I don't think that the Mujahideen are actually brave. That was simply a reference to John Rambo 3, first and foremost, a very famous reference to John Rambo 3 that featured, this movie is dedicated to the brave Mujahideen soldiers of Afghanistan. And on top of that, it was a reference to the fact that Ronald Reagan also considered them to be brave when he was arming them, when he escalated the arms that were, when he increased the amount of funding and training and arms and Stinger missiles that we were giving to these groups that then branched off and became the Taliban and became Al Qaeda. So my point was, hey, we're doing the exact same things that we have done in the past over and over again. At what point will we go, you know what? Maybe we should stop meddling in the Middle Eastern affairs. Maybe we should stop funding insurgency groups that we consider to be allies to ourselves, and then get surprised when they turn around and use those weapons against us.
Okay,
I'm all about stopping the bloodshed.
So I understand that, and I agree with that point. Unfortunately, I think that what you said was horribly counterproductive and offensive. We'll get to that in a second. I want at least show you guys what some of the things that Crenshaw and Hasan said had on Twitter. So let's go to graphic 203 here. So no, I'll get to Crenshaw in a second. 203, that's Reagan meeting with the Mujahideen. That's the reference that Hasan was making and put on Twitter. 202 is the reference to the end of Rambo 3 or whatever. This film was dedicated to the brave Mujahideen.
Oh boy, that question that you asked Hasan Piker, it seems like you've already had it queued up. Doesn't it? It seems like the Young Turks has already rehearsed what his answers are going to be, and that way they have the graphics put up on the internet. By the way, guys, nothing in this video is rehearsed. As you can tell, there's times where I literally let the video play and I'm looking stuff up. None of it's rehearsed.
Fighters of Afghanistan. We did fund them. Yes, they were fighting the Soviet Union at the time. That's obviously important context. But, but we did have blowback when they turned on us. Now, Dan Crenshaw, I actually thought was actually took it really well. He went on Laura Ingram's program today and had a lot of things to say about Hasan and the Young Turks that I don't necessarily agree with. But he has acknowledged throughout that of course it was satire. Here's his tweet. He said, Hasan seems to confuse improvised explosive device with some weird terrorist fantasy. And of course he lost his eye in an IED explosion. And he says, LOL, sorry for triggering you, Hasan. You're no Pete Davidson, stop trying so hard. He repeated that on the Laura Ingraham program today as well. And look, I think that I disagree with Dan Crenshaw's policies, but in regards to an incredibly crass and offensive joke you made, he's handled it like a champ.
I agree. I think he took it like a champ. I would not have expected that, considering, like I said, the overwhelming amount of commentary that I've received so far on the issue is just very public displays of trying to kill me and fantasizing about murdering me or whatever, which is fine. It's a part of the job. I understand.
Oh boy, the people are fantasizing about killing me after I made a stupid comment. Who gives a shit? All right? That's not why you made the comment in the first place, was it?
Having said that, however, I have to make one note, okay?
No, you're right. Two wrongs don't make a right. Yes, you're right. With anybody that says that. And I disagree with people threatening Hasan Piker. Please don't do it, okay? He's a big enough idiot to step himself in it, let alone us giving them ammunition.
Service does not guarantee respect. It should not. I'm sorry. This is the exact same kind of this is the exact same kind of sentiment that leads to the militant attitude that the United States has. If you have served, and then on top of that, are using that service to continue sending like loads of young men and women overseas to die or to come back home and fail to reintegrate into society just exclusively for the profits of the military-industrial complex, then no, you don't deserve respect by virtue of service. I'm sorry.
Well, Haas, there's a giant difference, right? So I don't agree with John McCain's, when he was alive, his warmongering, right? His policies were terrible, but I do respect that he stayed in that prisoner of war camp and when they said you can go because you're the son of an admiral, but he stayed with his fellow soldiers.
We've had very public disagreements on the way I've talked about John McCain as well.
Yeah, and so saying I disagree with Dan Crenshaw's policy is one thing, making that incredibly crass joke. I mean, how do you not see that it's counterproductive? Did you think that Americans would say, oh my God, that joke is so funny? Or like, can you not see how most Americans would say, this horrible thing about his eye injury would be offensive, and then stop listening to you?
If I considered what the popular thing to say was going to be every time I said something, I probably wouldn't be advocating for the things I believe in. The final note I will say is this, okay? I would rather be uncivil and advocate for the morally righteous cause, which is anti-war and anti-imperialism, bringing our troops back home, ending the unjustifiable and unnecessary bloodshed, than be incredibly polite and incredibly civil and talk about ongoing genocide and refuse to acknowledge it, and even worse than that, vote in favor of the government, in favor of the country that is continuing that genocide with our weapons. You can be as civil as you want.
Yeah, if you had said that on the TYT network, I would have pulled that video. I think it's offensive, it's over the top, and I understand you were trying to do satire, but I thought it was a terrible job at that, and I get why people are offended by it. So look, what we do here at the Young Turks is unlike any other network. We have wild, significant disagreements, and I know that that bothers people, and so I have aired our disagreements on the issue of Russia. And almost every topic that you can imagine. So Hasan and I disagree about that satire, to say the least. But what I don't want is people walking away thinking that he actually meant the misstatement on 9/11.
But I do think he meant it. That's the thing. When you watch that video again, and we'll rewatch it again after this, you tell me if you think he meant it or not.
And he did pull the video. To me, that's huge evidence that he realized right away that it was wrong.
No, that just means he realized it was wrong and people were going to take it and blast it all over the internet. That doesn't mean he thinks that he stuffed up or that he misspoke. Technically, I suppose, yeah, he thinks it was wrong because he realized it was completely stupid to say, but that doesn't mean he didn't mean it when he said it.
And look, this is talk shows are a fascinating and hard situation. They're not like a blue collar job. They're not hard in that sense. But that's why in the past I've said NBC shouldn't fire Megyn Kelly, etc. Because when you
what about InfoWars? How many times has the Young Turks advocated for Alex Jones to lose his Facebook, Twitter, and everything account? Do I have to show you that, Jank? You sit there and you go on about, oh, we haven't advocated for these conservatives. No, but other ones you have. Other conservatives you have definitely advocated for. You guys have even stuck up for Antifa. So stop sitting there claiming you got the moral high ground when I'm sorry, but you don't.
I mean, you on your Twitch channel, you talk for what, like 4-6 hours in a row.
That was from a 6-hour broadcast that they clipped 14 seconds from, and if they only had clipped 60 seconds.
Actually, we clipped 60 seconds.
Instead of the 14 seconds, they would understand exactly what I was referencing and exactly what I meant.
It still would be wrong.
Look, the words I used were.
All right, guys, I am going to go because I have guests and visitors. So, but yeah, look, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on what he said? Do you think it was bad? Do you think this apology is good? To be honest, I think this is a load of crap. I really, really do. I think Jank has dragged him in to have a chat because they've realized how bad this looks and they're trying to do damage control. But let me know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. Apart from that, guys, obviously the video has been helpful. Please smack that like button. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, I will see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great day and enjoy.